Ballon d'Or, it's time. The season's over. It's all wrapped up. And now, the big talk is here. How are you feeling, Breton, with all this?
Well, I'm still hoping that the people that were in the ventilation system in Miami trying to get into the Copa America, I'm still hoping that they're okay. They've been on my mind a lot, Alex. No, I'm doing great. It's a little bit of a hangover, right? A little bit of a hangover. We had the Euros, we had Copa America, but the silly season is upon us, and somewhere in between, we get to argue about the Ballon d'Or. Potential nominees, the potential top 10, the potential winner. And just before we even start, I have to say it. As much as we enjoyed the era that was Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, I am so elated to actually having a video where we can argue, not one, but like 5 potential winners for the Ballon d'Or. And that in and of itself is refreshing, is it not?
It's true. It's definitely a different landscape and something that we have to see, a new opportunity for many other players to get the spotlight. I agree with you, different times, so we have to adapt and go bold. But let us know, people, before we say our top 10, let us know in the comments section who will win the Ballon d'Or in your opinion, justify why, and if you can, write a top 5 and a top 10. We will deconstruct and ask you, why did you have Carvajal top 5? Why would you have Phil Foden maybe snubbed? Let us know down below your thoughts in the comment section. But before we say our before we say our top 10, the Bookies' current top 10 of the Ballon d'Or has Harry Kane in 10th, Nico Williams 9th, 8th Lautaro Martinez, 7th Kylian Mbappe, 6th Messi, 5th Lamine Yamal, Dani Carvajal, 4th, 3rd Jude Bellingham, 2nd Rodri, and for the Bookies, the favorite is Vinicius Jr. Clear Real domination, but let's go with ours now. With who's your 10th place, Breton?
You want to start with 10, or should we do them in like threes? How you want to do this?
I think yes, in threes that works better, Breton. So 10.
Okay, we'll do that. 10, 9, and 8. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to definitely disagree with the Bookies here. As much as I love FC Wonder Kid, I love what Lamine Yamal is doing, the fact that he turned 17 the day before the final and then put on a show for his own 17th birthday, an unreal host of the youngest accolades. I mean, lists like a mile long of things that he has done first. In the end, it is the beginning for this child. So Lamine Yamal is 10th for me. And now he's the youngest to ever win a European championship, and he's the youngest, obviously, ever to be the leader in assists at a European championship. That in and of itself is great. But when you marry that with him leading a Barcelona team as a 16-year-old, I think there's still much more to come, obviously, from Lamine Yamal. So he's in the top 10. He's 10th. I don't think he's ever going to leave the top 10 for the next decade, is what it sounds like to me. So 10th for me, Lamine Yamal. 9th, I do agree with the Bookies here. 9th, Nico Williams. He's above Lamine for me. Not because of the European Championship per se, even though I think while he wound up on the score sheet a little bit less, or that the name on the score sheet, he had a goal in the final, 1, and 2, I think he was just as important to Spain's success. But more importantly, he delivered a trophy for the first time in 40 years, the Copa del Rey, to Athletic Bilbao without the same star power, without the same expectations. He vanquished some big opponents and was a massive part of Bilbao's success in that season. That puts him that little bit above Yamal in 9th place for me. And then 8th, this is going to seem like a fall from grace of sorts, but I don't think it can be delivered any differently. Harry Kane. Harry Kane with 66 goal involvements in 2023-2024. Harry Kane with 54 goals. Harry Kane going to Germany and kicking the crap out of the ball into the net more often than not, but also Harry Kane falling short in the Bundesliga. Harry Kane falling short in the Champions League. Harry Kane falling short in the European Championship, but still 8th place for me. So 10 Yamal, 9 Nico, 8 Kane. That's how I'm going.
Interesting enough, you put Nico ahead of Lamine Yamal, and look, people are gonna go on top of me. I don't have Lamine Yamal in my top 10. I do not have Lamine Yamal in my top 10, nor Nico Williams.
Wow.
I do not have one of them. But one thing I want to say before I say my top 10 in this sense, Lamine Yamal is the best talent in football right now. Number 19 next season, and it's possible next season, Lamine Yamal winning the Ballon d'Or. It's very bold right now to say that, but if Barca wins the Champions League and La Liga, no doubts will be upon us because there's no Euros, no World Cup, and club football will be the biggest factor. So, my top 10 of the Ballon d'Or, I have in 10th, last professional season, Toni Kroos. I had to put him somewhere. 9th, Lautaro Martinez. And 8th, Harry Kane. No trophies. Lamine Yamal at the age of 17 already has a La Liga and the Euros won. Harry Kane, in terms of output with goals, European Golden Boots, no one can say he had a bad season individually. But collectively, watching England play, he was more of a burden than an answer towards their problems. So Harry Kane, because of his performance in England, I'm going to put him in 8th position, and we both agree. We both agree with that.
Yeah, I'm
love it.
I'm the meat of your top 10 is going to be really interesting to me with Lautaro in 9th and who is Toni Kroos in 10th. But Harry Kane, us falling on 8th place is great. And we just have to say, disclaimer here, Bayern are not resting. I mean, they know that they messed up last season. They know that Harry Kane needs a trophy for the love of all trolls out there to get them off that poor guy's feed. But they have not waited, and they've gone out. They got Ito in center of defense. They've got Michael Olise in. They've got João Paulinho. I mean, they are setting the table for Harry Kane to eat next season. Again.
Xavi Simons too. Rumoredly, it could happen. So Harry Kane, he must deliver a trophy with Vincent Kompany. But Bundesliga predictions, just giving a quick prediction. I think Xabi Alonso will be in first still. But let us know down below your thoughts right there. And interesting enough that you're saying that. My 7th place is a player. I see top 10 of the Ballon d'Or. My 7th place is someone I do not see him in the conversation. And it's mad. It's the Euros effect, clearly. It's Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz is the best player in the Bundesliga, ahead of Harry Kane last season. Only one loss in terms of club level in the Europa League. And Florian Wirtz is the player that makes everything tick at Bayer Leverkusen next to Schalke in terms of leadership. But creativity and offensive output, Florian Wirtz is the main player, and I had to have him in this top 10, and I have him ahead of Harry Kane. So I would put Intenso, Toni Kroos, 9th. It's hard, but yes, I have Lautaro Martinez, 8th Harry Kane, and 7th Florian Wirtz.
Ooh,
very bold.
All right, I guess I have to lay the landscape here. My 2 major snubs are your number 7, Florian Wirtz. And I am not hearing Phil Foden yet from you, so we'll see. We'll see if he's in your list. Oh my goodness! So there you go. Nor Jamal Musiala, but I mean,
Premier League Player of the Season, but Jamal Musiala for me is a bigger talent than Foden right now.
Well, and also the Euros was a definite indictment against any real top 10 here, and that's why Foden would be 11th for me. Wirtz might be 12th, or they might be flip-flopped, but they're not in it. And so let's just get that out of the way, because I do understand there is an alternate reality here that places Phil Foden firmly in the top 10, but I'm not feeling it right now. Call it recency effect, call it whatever you need.
And if you had to pick between Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, and Florian Wirtz, who would you pick? Because from what we saw with Cole Palmer, the importance he had with 1 assist and 1 goal in the last 2 English games in the knockouts.
It's true.
It might be to sell Phil Foden, because I ain't selling Florian Wirtz.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I would do there. So you're saying start bench sell is what you're throwing at me right now? Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, and Florian Wirtz?
I would start Wirtz I would start Wirtz, and the English fans, they can go on top of me. I don't care. Florian Wirtz is a genius and the best replacement possible for Kevin De Bruyne at Man City.
It depends. Am I playing Pep's system or Xabi Alonso's system? Whose system am I playing? What am I doing here, right? If it's Pep, I'm playing Phil Foden every day of the week. No, I'm with you, and I understand that. So back to it, right?
Yes.
We've got 7-6-5. Is that what you want me to throw out there for you? Okay.
Exactly.
My seventh place is going to be a weird one for you. But a lot of it's because team success is a big deal, especially when it comes to the Ballon d'Or. The nominations, just so people know, will be out in early September. So we've got a whole 2 months or so, 3 months to argue about this. But seventh place, I think he'll wind up being higher, but I'm going with Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe in my top 10 is at 7. And to be honest, I mean, with 50-plus, 60-plus goal involvements in a season, it's bonkers. Third consecutive, I believe, Ligue 1 title. But he failed in most of his major goals. It doesn't change the fact that he is still one of the best players on the planet. And for most of this season, the best player on the planet, right? So my guess is he'll wind up being higher. But for all intents and purposes, Kylian Mbappe is 7 for me. Lautaro is 6th for me, not because I think he's a better striker, but come on. Serie A winner, Serie A Golden Boot winner, Copa America winner, Copa America Golden Boot winner. Yes, you can argue that he didn't show up in the round of 16 of the Champions League. Yeah, and three goals or 3 times a substitute in that. You're absolutely right. And when Messi was off the pitch with injury, it was obviously a platoon defect. It was not just Lautaro, but when a goal was needed, Lautaro delivered, right? And that is important. And it was one of the first times that I think watching Argentina break down Colombia in that final extra time, it was one of the first times I looked at Argentina, I said, they might be okay. They might still be a top 3 national team on the planet, even without Leo Messi moving forward if they decide, or if Leo decides to hang up his boots at some point. So Lautaro for 6 for me. I think the biggest indictment on Lautaro is he doesn't show up in big games. People will namely look at the missed penalty in the round of 16, but I think he made up for that by scoring the goal that secured them the Copa America final, even when their leader was off the pitch. Toni Kroos, then, is number 5 for me. I'm sorry, number 5 for me. He is clearly the best player for Germany. He was clearly the best player in its entirety. I shouldn't say the best player, but he is clearly one of the most important players for Real Madrid this season. And the fact that it was a little bit of a turn back time, I mean, we thought he was kind of trending downwards, but nope. He had one last flourish in him. He came back. He delivered for Germany, even though they couldn't get the win. They ended up losing to the eventual champions. Can't necessarily fault him for that. And he delivered Real Madrid yet another Champions League final, being one of the best players on the pitch. And I will forever remember that semifinal performance because Toni Kroos was Real Madrid in that semifinal in the UCL. So Toni Kroos still cracks the top 5 for me. Part of that's probably like a send-off to a legend, but it felt vital. It felt like it felt cathartic in some respects to still have Toni Kroos in that top 5.
I like it. I like how you're thinking, Breton, okay? Because, yes, I understand Toni Kroos being in the top 10. I just put him a bit under, but I respect your decision completely.
Cool.
So, now, so 7th, 6th, and 5th. Okay, I said 7th, Florian Wirtz, my 6th and 5th. People are going to hate me for this. I had to put Lionel Messi, and I know Lionel Messi is going to be here. I know Lionel Messi is going to be in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or, and if I'm predicting for my community, I'm going to put him in the top 10 where I think he's going to end, and I think he's going to finish 6th place because Argentina wins the Copa America. He's the best player of Argentina. Leadership, everything. They play in full effect with Lionel Messi on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think he will win the MLS. Let's wait and see if that's going to happen. But his transition to the MLS has been flawless. He's the best player, by far, best player that's ever been in the MLS, I might say, in terms of talent. So there's no discussion that ability, he still has it at the highest level. So this is where we disagree big time, Brett. I disagree big time with
Yeah.
you. I have 7th
Yeah,
Florian
I got no
Wirtz,
Messi.
6th Lionel Messi, 5th I have Kylian Mbappe. And it saddens me that I put 5th Kylian Mbappe because in terms of ability in the Ballon d'Or, he's the player with the best ability in the world. In terms of football ability, Kylian Mbappe is the best player in the world. That's why it saddens me to put him 5th. Is the meritocracy of trophies, and that's the difference with being the best player and winning the Ballon d'Or. It's having the titles with that ability to make the difference. So Kylian Mbappe, he fell short in terms of title.
He did, and that's why he's got 80,000 reasons to pick it up for Real Madrid, right?
Exactly.
80,000 showed up. He joins the number 9 club at obviously the most recognized brand on the planet right now. That is Real Madrid. And joins a flippin' super squad that even with Lamine Yamal's crazy Euros and the potential of them getting Nico Williams, Real Madrid is still odds-on favorite to win the UCL and win La Liga again this season. So it's crazy, but he's going where he needs to go in order to get that Ballon d'Or. And something tells me I think he's going to secure it in the next 5 years easily.
I think so too. Mbappe now at the age of 25, there's a real chance he can finish. And no, until the age of 30, he can have at least 2 Ballon d'Ors. There's a real chance of that happening when we see the current landscape in terms of football. The Ballon d'Or is up for grabs, and that's why Kylian Mbappe at Real Madrid next season makes him the favorite to win this title. Champions League favorites is Real Madrid, no doubt in my mind. When there's no Euros and no World Cup too. No Haaland in our top 10 of the Ballon d'Or until now, and I think he will not be in it. So no Haaland is quite interesting, when Erling Haaland last season was definitely top 3. So from one season to another, definitely top 3. 2, not even in the top 10. So football is the moment, and the moment is not with Erling Haaland at the top.
He just needs those years where there's no international tournaments. That's it. That's all.
But
yeah, I mean, but you take the club season. I'm sorry, you take the international season out of it, right? You take this last month and a half out of it, and Haaland's probably in our top 10 easily, right? So that is pretty interesting there, but that also says, like, come on, Haaland, Odegaard. Let's get Norway straight, man. Let's figure this out. You've got a lot more clubs that are going to be going to the World Cup in 2026. Norway sure as hell better be one of them, right?
Exactly.
If you want any chance at it.
Or something that was interesting that I got the thought process with our video of Conmebol Copa America in our last special episode. It's imagine if Norway is a guest to play in a Copa America. I know it's kind of strange, but they could be guest countries one day in big international trophies. So let us know down below your thoughts about that, because I've seen that thought process circulating in terms of the decision making at the top.
Qatar is one that's been in there, but I do need to, before we move into the real upper echelon of this, I have no Leo Messi. I'm saying that right now. I have no Leo Messi. And while I agree with everything you say there, I also agree that I think he's definitely going to be in the top 10, if not the top 5 or top 6.
Of the Ballon d'Or down.
Of the Ballon d'Or, yeah. I don't think that it's necessarily warranted. I don't. When all is said and done, I mean, he was kind of, what's the word? He was injured during the Copa America. He wasn't the best player for Argentina in this Copa America. No, it was not. It was Rodrigo de Paul, probably. Lautaro obviously deserves some love, but he did most of his damage off the bench. So I'd probably say, Rodrigo de Paul would be my pick.
Romero.
Or Cuti Romero, absolutely. So that's why, and while I look at his transition to MLS as being great, I do also know that from here on out, he's probably going to miss the whole League's Cup. Unfortunately, it came out that he has ligament damage to his ankle. That's no fault of his own. I mean, the guy has been playing injured for some time now. But the way I look at it is that feels like more of a nod. And one that the Ballon d'Or is definitely going, France football is definitely going to give to him. Don't get me wrong. It feels more like a nod to his legendary status, for sure, to have him in the top 10 Ballon d'Or. But I just had to explain that snub because it is a big snub. Me being an MLS guy, of course I'd want an MLS guy an MLS guy, literally the face of Major League Soccer right now. Of course, I'd want him in the top 10. But as far as it goes, I just looking at what these other guys have accomplished this year, 2023 to 2024 season, I should say. I just didn't feel right putting him in there.
Toni Kroos, Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, all ahead of Lionel Messi, in your opinion. That's full, Breton.
Yeah.
Top 10 of the Ballon d'Or. Love to see it. Now, fourth place is a player that I haven't heard you say his name, and you haven't heard me say his name. So we're going to say Dani Carvajal. Dani Carvajal
you got it.
won everything.
And why not?
Possible, and that's why right now he is in the top 5 of the Ballon d'Or, and he's my 4th place to win the Ballon d'Or. Dani Carvajal, for a right back that is very bold, he will be remembered as one of the best right backs of this generation. Every final he's won when he starts, 7 out of 7, and Champions League he won, man of the match in that game. He scored also as a right back, so Dani Carvajal, big respect to him. Real Madrid dominance in the Ballon d'Or, and he is my 4th place. Do you agree?
Yeah. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you named there. My only real argument and my wrestling with Dani Carvajal is, would we actually put him up there? I mean, even in this past season, as from a positional perspective, would you put him up there as one of, or the best right back out there? Now, don't ask me to list other right backs right now. It's just a question I want to throw out into the ether.
Like the Euros. Right. Joshua Kimmich, Jules Koundé, Kyle Walker, and Dani Carvajal. I'd pick Dani Carvajal, no doubts. And I think it's embarrassing that that they've picked for the team of the tournaments Walker ahead of Dani Carvajal. I think that should not be the case. Carvajal deserves that spot, and immaculate season because he's a leader.
Well,
not just in
Walker's
terms of ability.
Walker's final alone should kind of disqualify him from being in that, frankly. But yeah, I'm with you there. It's just Carvajal. It's also a product of the team that he has been in. Sometimes always starting for the side, sometimes kind of on the outside looking in too, and coming back and having to win things back for him. But it's been an incredible long road, successful road for him, and he's been a massive part of it. And he has stepped up, as you mentioned, in really big games. Great in the final, great in the Euro final, scored a goal in the Champions League final. You're absolutely right there. So yeah, that's why 4th place, but he didn't crack the top 3 for me. So there you go. I think we're going to have like a very similar top 3 here.
Who's the first? Because
who's the first?
I'm going to say it. It's for sure the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or this season will for sure be with Rodri, Jude, and Vinicius Jr. The big question is, what's the order? Some people put Rodri first, others put Vinicius Jr. first, others put Jude Bellingham first, but I think it's a fact that the best player in terms of club level and ability was Vinicius Jr. from these 3 players. But who's your third, second, and first, Brett?
Yeah, so that right herein lies like my expectation or my reality versus who I think is actually going to win. I'm going to say it right now. I think Vinicius Jr. is going to win. But if you're asking me to rank my top 10 Ballon d'Or, I'm not going to put Vinicius Jr. at number 1. I think it's Jude in 3rd for me. An incredible historic start to the season, made La Liga his landscape, formed a wonderful working relationship with Carlo Ancelotti, only effusive great things to be said about him. And then, England, he was still a very important part of their run to the final, scored that big goal against Slovakia. But largely, I think most people would put it kind of like a middle-of-the-road tournament for Jude, even at his tender age of just turned 21 or 20 years old, and an assist in the final. You're absolutely right. What he did does not eclipse how much of a massive player and difference maker that Vinicius Jr. was for Real Madrid. But all of this, for me, pales in comparison to what Rodri has done, right? What Rodri has done. And yes, there 100% in my mind is kind of a trail over a what's the word? A parentheses between his last season and this season, which breaks the rules, I know. But Rodri has consistently been the best at his position. Every once in a while, you and I will be like, oh, Declan Rice has been phenomenal. So-and-so has been phenomenal at DM. They're even getting up there.
Tchouaméni.
They're getting closer to being as, Tchouaméni being as close to Rodri as possible. But no, nobody has surpassed Rodri as a defensive midfielder. Nobody has surpassed him. And he's shown versatility for Spain. Not this season, but he's shown versatility for Spain. He's shown his absolute influence for them. He's won the Premier League. He's won the Euros. Yeah, he's the Euro player of the tournament, even without playing the second half of the flippin' final. And I just don't see anybody surpassing him in his particular position. And with that said, in this new era, in this new kind of Messi list in the top 3, Ronaldo list in the top 3 era, I feel like that needs to be rewarded. And what a way to start the era, by rewarding Rodri with the Ballon d'Or for what he has done and the consistency, the consistent influence. He's just a great at his position. And that deserves to be recognized, in my opinion.
And Rodri improved a lot in terms of ability, his own game.
True.
Because Rodri this season, 12 goals, 14 assists. And the Rodri that arrived at Man City was not a player that had the same expectations in terms of these numbers. So, look, I respect that opinion. And if Rodri wins, I'm not going to be that guy saying he didn't deserve this, that, and the other thing. Because Rodri is a winner. Winner mentality. Rodri, since the 1st of January 2023, Rodri, since the 1st of January in 2023, he's lost 5 matches for his club and country. But he's won 8 trophies in the meantime. So he's won 3 more trophies than he has losses. That is mad. And it's a result of this winner mentality, because with Spain, it was Rodri behind in midfield, Dani Olmo, Fabian Ruiz, or Pedri in front of him. And with City, it's Rodri making that defensive mid and giving that liberty to Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, whoever is in front of them. So that can happen because Rodri is that player that only him in the world of football can do, to the best of their ability, the work of a defensive mid. Barca, one day. Barca, one day. So
the last thing, but before you say yours, because I have a feeling what path you're going down there, it's, for me, it's like if Vinicius Jr., if he wowed me to the point, as an attacker, that's your job. Your job is to score goals. Your job is to entertain. Your job is to lead. Your job is to, I think Vinicius did that up until a certain threshold, right?
I agree.
But I don't think he sustained that for the whole entire season, club and international. You take that back to Rodri, and while he didn't get Manchester City over that Champions League repeat hump, right? He still, at all times, was the best in his position. And that for me, I think, should hold weight in this new era. While I do need to hedge my bets in the sense that I'm going to agree in that I don't think he's going to win this Ballon d'Or. I want him to, but I don't think he will.
Well, this is the thing. The best player internationally this season was definitely Rodri. The best player at the club level definitely was Vinicius Jr. And then you have Jude Bellingham, that went to the final of the Euros and was the La Liga best player and instrumental too in the Champions League win of Real Madrid. So the one that has the PR, the one that has the biggest brand maybe out of these 3 could be Jude Bellingham ahead of Vinicius Jr. So
that's true.
That's why Vinicius, Jude, Rodri, any of them can win the Ballon d'Or, and we wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But my Ballon d'Or, top 3, I would put Jude Bellingham 3rd, I would put 2nd Rodri, and I would put 1st Vinicius Jr., even though Brazil national team, that was extremely disappointing. 1 win out of 4 Copa America games. I do not believe it's Vinicius Jr.'s fault. He had a little bit in hand, but it's not totally his fault. And Bellingham and Rodri, well, it saddens me not to put you first, but as I said, you could get the first place and be justifiable. This is the beauty of the Ballon d'Or now. The votes are going to be taken in account. People are going to be saying their top 3 and 5s, and then let's wait and see what's going to be the case. But Lionel Messi, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius, many players, like, we could be shocked, Breton, and people that could be an outburst saying, oh, the Ballon d'Or is pure marketing, this, that, and the other thing. Well, I will not disagree with the base of that fact, because the Ballon d'Or is based on trophies and merits, and not just based on football ability. It's not the best top 10 players in terms of football ability in that year.
Yeah.
It's the ones that performed at the best level and showed their ability in the highest stage in finals and winning trophies. I really wanted to make this point. But people, let us know your top 10 until now listening to ours. Who you agree and who do you disagree?
You want to list them in whole one more time?
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
You want to go first or you want me to go?
I'll go first. So with my top 10 for the Ballon d'Or, I put Toni Kroos in 10th. I put Lautaro 9th. I put Harry Kane 8th. Bold statement putting Florian Wirtz 7th. Lionel Messi 6th, because I know he's going to be in the top 10, definitely. 5th, Kylian Mbappe, the best player in the world in terms of ability. 4th, Dani Carvajal, because all I do is win, win, win. But in 3rd, we have Jude Bellingham, also a Real Madrid player. 2nd, Rodri, that he definitely all he does is wins. And 1st is Vinicius Jr. Hopefully, Borala Vinicius gets that Ballon d'Or. And look, makes it difficult for Kylian Mbappe in his first season to be the best player at Real Madrid. I think that will be the case, Mbappe being the best player.
Yeah. Well, all right. All right. We do have some differences here, and some big snubs. So my top 10, I am going to put in 10th Lamine Yamal. I've got his compatriot, not yet teammate, but in 9th, Nico Williams, or not yet teammate at Barca, I should say. 8th, Harry Kane, even with 50-plus goals. Kylian Mbappe in 7th. Lautaro gets 6th for me. Come on, Golden Boot in Serie A, Golden Boot in Copa America, 2 of those trophies. He definitely deserves it. Toni Kroos in 5th. Dani Carvajal in 4th. Our agreement is spot on with that. All he does is win, win, win. I've got the same 3rd place as you, Alex. Jude in 3rd. At one point, he was 1st. Not any longer. And then our flip-flop here is, it's my heart over what my stomach, what my gut tells me. I'd like Vinicius in 2nd because I do blame him a little more for Brazil's ills than you do. Not just in Copa America, but also in World Cup qualifying, where they still remain firmly stinky, without for lack of a better word, right? In 6th place, they've got a lot to work on there. Whereas you contrast that with the man himself, Rodri, who up until whatever game it was, FA Cup final, Champions League, whichever game it was, up until that, they were unbeaten with Rodri in the lineup. That is Manchester City. I feel for him to get 5th last season, right, in the voting is a little bit of a slap in the face compared to his influence in the treble. And then for him to be the linchpin, for him to be the guy in the middle, the catalyst, the whatever you want to call it, the fulcrum, the guy that leads or helps to lead Spain to their 4th Euro championship. I feel like what a way to start it off, right? Start off the new era. Messi-less era, Ronaldo-less era. Start it off by rewarding a guy that has had a massive influence in the really quick rise, once again, of the Spanish national team. And on top of that, the guy that has kept Manchester City, one of the guys, but one of the largest reasons why Manchester City has remained at the top of the Premier League for so flipping long. Absolutely irreplaceable. And Vinicius will get his just desserts, I'm sure, in the future, unless he's got to share those desserts with Kylian Mbappe.
Exactly.
But Rodri, I think Rodri deserves it, man, just based on his positional kind of, dominance, right? The fact that he has been the top of his position for some time. So the fact that I have to lobby this hard means that it's probably not going to happen, right?
So my top 5 of the Ballon d'Or has Mbappe, Carvajal, Jude, Vini, and Rodri. Your top 5 has who?
Kroos, Carvajal, Bellingham, Vini Jr., and Rodri at the top.
But let us know on YouTube your thoughts. It helps us out a lot here at FC Wonder Kid. Comment on YouTube, like the video on YouTube, and go bold with your opinions because, yes, this was crazy to film and to do a top 10 with all these names we didn't even mention. The best player in Copa America, James Rodriguez. With
true.
6 assists. Haaland and Jamal Musiala. That was another player. Foden, player of the season in the Premier League. Let us know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for listening until now. And tell us topics that you want to see this offseason here at FC Wonder Kid. Go bold, and thank you for listening until now.